Hello, we're back, and we're going to talk about the green personality type. Um, Let me say this first, though. I hope you're finding this interesting. It's amazing how I am able to use the color assessments in a variety of venues, especially as a therapist, but also as a coach and as a business consultant. There have been times, for example, I did an in-service training where with a group of educators, and the principal was a blue personality type, and a lot of the teachers were gold. And they had a lot of challenges working with the blue personality type because that personality type didn't always, they saw that person as not being as organized or as structured as they would like. And the blue personality type, if they saw something that didn't work, they would come in the next week and say, we're going to try something different. And the other personality types would just, the goals particularly, would just have a real problem with the fact that you're going to change up just like that. And so it was interesting where they would judge it once they understood that that was the personality trait. Then I was able to help them to realize how to adapt to the personality style of their boss so that there would be more unity in the staff, and that the boss would understand that no, your gold personality types are not giving you a hard time just for being a hard time. They function better with certain structure and clarity, and that they just needed. So they were able to find this compromised place because they gained a good understanding of each other. I had a married couple where the husband was very gold, was very good with money and structured. When they would go on vacation, he would have it all lined out from day to day. And the blue was one that was just very wanted to just get up and just kind of do what we feel like doing today. And the structure she would find limiting, or if she ran into somebody and wanted to just be generous with her money, then the goal would be a little bit upset because we didn't plan for that. It doesn't fit in the budget. Or the goal would come home and the blue would just have the whole house every time I turn around, she's rearranging the house, because the blue loves variety, and they would just change up the environment from time to time. Where the goal, once things were set in a certain place, he liked it in that same place all the time, want to know where stuff was. So it was interesting. But once they really got to understand and accept the differences in their personality, and didn't try to make the gold, couldn't try to make the blue act like him, and vice versa, they could accept each other's personality, understand each other's personality, and then begin to help each other to find a lifestyle that was comfortable with each. Can you see how understanding your personality, it'll help you with dealing with your kids? When you have kids who have different personalities than you, it'll help you with work relationships, it'll help you with marriage relationships, and it will definitely help you to understand how you would set up a business or ministry based on your personality type. So for the sake of time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the green in this segment, and then take a break, and then do the orange last, so that each video is a little shorter because of taking one video for each. So let me put on my glasses again so I can share with you my screen. So we want to talk about the green personality style. And believe it or not, this is my personality style. So greens personality styles tends to be very innovative, but they're very logical. They really seek to have this understanding of the world. They have this need to be competent, and they will push themselves continually to improve. They are slow to make decisions sometimes because they want to see all aspects of a problem or all aspects of a thing before they make a final decision. So it can be a little irritating because they won't make quick decisions, but when they do make a decision, it is well thought out. They value concise communication. You don't want to be taking long, drawn out explanations will irritate a green. It's like get to the point. Though they can tend to sometimes be long-winded in their explanations, which is interesting. They look for intellectual stimulation. Sometimes the intellectual is more, they lean to that more than the emotional. And sometimes they can be perceived as being detached, because of that. They do believe that work is play. That's what this really means. That's a typo here. That work is play. They usually love what they do, and they can get lost in it and can do it for hours. They're drawn to technical kind of occupations. They like analyzing and rearranging systems. A green is a systematic thinker. They have the ability to sit back and look at the whole picture of a thing, and then can always come up with different ways of doing a thing better. So when it says here focusing on the future, it's because they're always looking at how can I do this thing better. So they will bring innovation to a project and innovation to society. So what motivates them is personal requests for competence. They like being seen as competent, and they're problem solvers. They must be able to solve a problem. If you put a green in a situation and say to them that this is the way we've always done it, therefore we have to do it this way, that'll frustrate a green, because they're always thinking of how we can do this thing better and improve. And so a gold personality can sometimes see a green as challenging and irritating, because, why don't you just go with the program? Because a green is saying, because I can figure out how to do it better. So they, again, in terms of communication, they're naturally, when they say skeptical, they're naturally skeptical to saying that this is the way we always have to do it. And they can sometimes be seen as cool. I used to have people think that I was kind of distant, really, when I was really shy. But they would interpret that as distant and cool. And a green really doesn't like a whole lot of small talk. So to put them in environments where people are just chit-chatting about little nothing, how's the weather, it'll irritate them. Or if you repeat something, once you tell a green and they understand it, then they've got it. But if you continue to repeat it and it's redundant, will irritate a goal. They do prefer work that's analytical and have a creative focus to it. It's different kind of creativity than a blue would have, because their creativity is more in creative new ways of doing things. How can an idea be perfected? And then once they perfect an idea or create a plan of doing something, then they want to move on to the next thing. So you need to have goals in the organization, because a goal will take the ideas and systematize it, while the green will sometimes go on and try to work on something different. So they're visionary. And so if you have a green person, a supervisor, if a green person is over an organization, they're going to continue. They will think big. They are visionaries. And then once they get the big picture, then they will figure out all of the different ways to make it work. You give a green an organization idea, and before they're done it, they will have every aspect of it covered. And they love surrounding themselves with other competent but independent workers, people that can, once you give them an assignment, they can work on their own. A green prefers working alone. They don't want to necessarily work in a group. The best way to use a green in a group is allow them to be creative. They'll work through things within their own mind, and then they'll come to the group with an idea. They'll come and then get feedback from that point. But to take a green and put them in a meeting and say, well, why don't we kind of figure out what we're going to do here? Oh, a blue will love it. A green will be frustrated. So, so with recreation, you know, a green, okay, education, they're driven to understand the world around them. They prefer, again, to work alone on challenging projects, subjects. With recreation, they hate to be idle. So when they on vacations, when I take vacation, when I go on vacation, I take books with me. I take things that I can work on. If I go sit in a doctor's office, you know, waiting, you know, I don't want to just sit and wait in the office and do nothing. If you sit in the office, a blue will be talking to people. How are you doing? And what are you here for? And are you married? I have a sister that's a blue. That girl will have you talking about your life. You'll have strangers telling everything. It's like they don't meet strangers. With the green, I will go to a lobby, say hello to everybody, and open up my iPad or open up my, you know, take a book, and I'll be involved there. You know, and it's not that I'm distant from you. That's just, you know, I love recognizing that is my personality type, and I hate to be mentally idle. You know, so I want to be able to, at some point, I need to have fun, and I love to have fun, and I structure fun, you know, because I like anyone else, I do. But at some point, even in a week's time, when I'm having vacation, there's going to be some time when I'm reading something or listening to something. That's just green personality. It's just interesting. And so some other things about a green is that they like figuring out things that are complex and making it simple. They are excellent problem solvers. They're good decision makers because they will consider all aspects of a problem before making a final decision. They just don't do it fast. They base their answers on laws and principles, not on emotions. They will question everything. And so I was in school, I gave my parents a hard time because, well, why would they have to do like that? Yeah, I would question everything. And it was good to know that that was kind of my personality style. They love pursuing knowledge. They love pursuing wisdom. They can be objective. Again, if you want to create, they're systematic. And so when you want someone to create something from scratch, they can do it because they're systematic thinkers, and they make sure that every part that every single piece that needs to be in place for something to operate effectively and efficiently, a green will think that through. So they're very logical. They like developing models. They love developing plans. They usually will have a decent vocabulary. They will always ask for more information. If you want to involve the green in activity, get them to create something, a new plan, a new idea, pose a problem that needs solving, and a green will get excited about that. They love seeing big pictures. A green is a big picture thinker, and they're architects of change because they're always going to look at how to do something better. And again, they focus on the future. They focus on what's next. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And they love creating strategies for the change. So they like to see the change, and they love creating strategies for the change. So so if you want to involve them with something, get them involved in changing things. Give them the opportunity to build competency. They love learning new things. How can I say this? So what they contribute to an organization, a green, is they contribute ideas, they contribute skills, They are a logical thinker. They're calm and they're calm and they're cool in their leadership. They like give them opportunities to challenge anything based on laws and principles. They love the opportunity of looking at possibilities. They may spend too much time planning, and may need, and they will, so sometimes you got to get them to, okay, this is good enough, because they can also deal with this need for perfection, and so need to work past perfection. So if you want to stress a green out, put them in a place where they don't have the ability to control, that they have to follow a system just because the system is there, and they don't have any ability to have any control over their environment, over their it's a lack of independence, that they are not, in other words, give a green what to do, make it clear on what they need to do, and then leave them alone. And when they come back to it, it's going to be well done. And so repetitive conversations will stress out a green. Being too emotional will stress out a green. Lack of options. You got to do it this way. No options. Will stress a green out. Unclear picture. They're not clear of what you want for them. Dependency, meaning you can't, I can't give you a task and depend on you. Routine, doing the same thing every way, will stress out as green. And social function sometimes will stress out a green. And it doesn't mean that a green doesn't like being around social. They're social too. And most times people, when they get to know me, are not even aware that I'm a green, but I'm a green and I'm an introvert. So that means that I can be around people, but then there becomes a time when it's like, okay, enough. And I need to get alone, because that's where I energize. And a lot of greens are introverted also. So so does that sound like you as a green? And so I have to work at not being a workaholic, because when a green loves what they do, they will work on it like it's night. You can tell that because of the the lighting in here. A green will work on stuff to the wee hours of the morning, because once they get engrossed in something, they love it. I love what I do. And so a green has to work at not becoming a workaholic. And so I recognize that. So does that make sense, green? What I want you to do is, as I share these personalities, I want you in the comments below to, number one, share what your number one personality trait is and what your second personality trait is, and tell me if what I'm saying to you describes you. You definitely do not want to stifle a green's enthusiasm in finding personalities. You don't want to stifle their intellectual ingenuity. So a gold personality, a teacher was always challenged with my green personality. They were always challenged with me. And anybody in authority. Until I learned how to manage that a little better, I would challenge authority all day long. My parents, I challenged them. Gold would kind of challenge anyone. And so I need to be involved with people that are okay about asking questions. Does that make sense? So what's interesting is that I have a green personality, and my secondary is gold. It's amazing to me. So that green part of me will kick in there and think of possibilities and envision all kind of dreams. I have huge dreams, guys. But then the goal will kick in terms of structuring it and in terms of creating a system that's kind of more stable. It's amazing how those two personalities complement each other, and I can know when I'm operating more out of my green personality than out of my my gold personality. And I'm thankful when I have a blue personality who works with me. My office manager is a blue personality, and she really helps in terms of helping me to be sure that I'm aware and sensitive to other things that might be happening in the environment, with the people that I'm associated with. You know, I'm thankful for everything that the different personalities bring to bear. So this is the green personality. Out of all the personality styles, there's usually more goals and there's really more blues. I think the blues are the ones that are the most, you have more people, gold. You have more goals than any personality types. Then blues are the next personality types. And greens are more, are not, you don't have a lot of green personalities. So it's part of the reasons why sometimes we are the least understood. So is this helpful? I used to wonder, how is a green a therapist? I used to say, how did my personality become a therapist? But you know what happens is that I approach therapy so differently. I approach it like I want to investigate and see what is the root cause of this and that, and you know, so that green personality causes me to do therapy and counseling different. Just as effective than blue personalities, because a lot of therapists are the empathetic, you know, blue personality type. But the way I deal with counseling is so different and as effective, just different. So this is, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, the green personality type. How many of you are greens? I want you to share that with me in the comments below. And again, I want you to share with me what is your first color and your second color. And it'll give me some idea of the kind of people that I'm attracting here. I do this with staff. When I add staff, I ask their personality style, because that gives me a good idea of how to relate. I had a blue staff person, and I hope I'm not too long-winded here, but I had a blue staff person. Now here's the green. The green would start off and say, okay, so what we got to do today is we need to work on this, and we need to work on that, and I had a blue office manager, and we need to work on this. And I would never, you know, and sometimes I realized, okay, this is a blue personality. So I had to stop and say, how are you today? You know, how's family today? And you know, sometimes make sure that I was expressing concern about her as a person. And a blue personality appreciates that, you know, that I'm not just someone here to do a task. So my green personality would get task oriented, but because I knew I had a blue staff person, then I would definitely make sure that I addressed that personality style, so I can create an atmosphere that would make her feel comfortable and appreciated and warm and loved and you know, and that's okay. It's helpful, and I think needed. So we're going to talk about our last personality style, which is the orange personality, next.